Right, this is going to be an update to my review for the 4K release of J.J. Abrams' Super 8, and the reason for this, Paramount Pictures objected to me showing an extract from the trailer actually on Super 8 film, which showed the train crash, just to illustrate what I was talking about. I've gone through the video as it was, everything's remained the same, but when I watched it last time for that review, it was using the Optoma UHD 550X video projector. It's a great machine, but this has got different characteristics to our present UHD 50, which is hiding behind that blanking plate up there. And I just wanted to update you before this video runs that I think the 4K is now far superior to the Blu-ray than the appearance it gave on this UHD 550X. So bear that in mind. I think the colour is far better, the density is better. I'm not sure of the definition, but overall just gives a much better impression, and that seems to be more the same as most other 4K discs as I'm seeing them now with our current equipment, and it just goes to show all our equipment is different. Anyway, without further ado, let's run that old video. This is the new 4K release of J.J. Abrams' timeless classic Super 8. I view it as an homage to some of the science fiction adventures of the late 1970s and early 1980s, most notably Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T. This is the steelbook version of Super 8, and it is an irresistible beauty. The film is set in the summer of 1979, and a group of young teenage friends in a small US steel-making town are making a film on Super 8 to enter into a national film competition. While making the film, they witness a train crash and something that can best be described as otherworldly. The science fiction element and the ensuing adventure is not the fundamental aspect of this film. It is about growing up, friendship, and broken families. It is the children who make this film. They are both believable and lovable, with Joel Courtney in the lead being the standout performance in what was his first ever role. The camera certainly loved him during this film, so it would be interesting to see him in something new today, and in that regard he does seem to have been getting plenty of roles since his appearance in Super 8. Elle Fanning is the girl who the two lead boys adore, and she was the only one of the group who had a successful acting career before this film, and indeed that success continues to this day. The rest of the group came from nowhere and are a delight to watch. They are also genuinely funny together, which makes for a hugely enjoyable film. I have already detailed much about the film Super 8 in my other video, the Super 8 Film Gauge, so it was nice to see it arrive on 4K in time for its 10th anniversary. I'll put a link to my other video in the description below, but whilst I can't tell you it's the most informative piece you'll ever see on the Super 8 Film Gauge, I can tell you that I've lived it, so I think it's worth a look. In this little box is the trailer reel to Super 8. I have two copies of the trailer on here. One is on acetate stock, the other polyester. Both are 2x squeeze anamorphic prints, and polyester is the superior print stock because it doesn't break so easily as acetate. It's an absolute delight to have anything of the film Super 8 on Super 8. It's fitting somehow, isn't it? I'm just sorry that they didn't bring out a cut down, an extract, or even a full feature on Super 8, but one day maybe. In the meantime, the disc releases of the film are rather special. It's not the best 4K we've seen, but my perception is that this is due to the way it was graded to give it a certain dark look. Also, the information I've read suggests it was only a 2K video to cinemas, so if that was the case then this is a 2K that has been output at 4K, so not ideal even if it did originate from 35mm negative prior to the downgrade to video. I could find no information about it being shot in anamorphic, so it's possible it's an optical blow-up to create the 2.4:1 final aspect ratio. And that probably would explain how they were able to show it in purported IMAX cinemas. Whatever the case, the general look suits the film, and although it doesn't appear to be miles better than the Blu-ray on my system, it is better, and that is due to the HDR, as usual. Now, having said all this, if like me, you have the DVD, it's in this pack with the original Blu-ray, which I believe is identical to the Blu-ray in the 4K, and now that I mention that, actually, when you think about this beautiful steelbook, and then you look at the discs that are contained within, I mean, rather lets it down really, doesn't it? But anyway, I digress. It's the same disc faces they had on the Blu-ray and the DVD releases. You might be surprised if you look at the DVD as to how well that stands up to the Blu-ray and the 4K. I won't say it's as good as those superior discs, but take a look at it. And it's not the first one that I've seen where a DVD has been taken from the same master as a 4K or a Blu-ray and it looks almost as good. So it perhaps illustrates just how important the original mastering is. If you've got something brilliant to start with, you're going to have something very good at the end of it, even if it's just a DVD. Sound on both the 4K and the Blu-ray is of exceptional quality. It's Dolby TrueHD 7.1 and it really is fabulous. However, if like me and you've got a high-end system, it might be advisable to turn the volume down a little during the train crash sequence, otherwise you might bring the ceiling down with it. As I said at the beginning, the steelbook is a thing of beauty, but I would not even have considered it were it not for an upload by Keith at Euphoria Pictures, who showed off his steelbook when it arrived, and that convinced me, and so I had to find out where to get it. And over here it's only available on the web through Zavi. So anyway, I put the order in and it got here within about 3 or 4 days, so almost as good as good old HMV, who I normally like to support, but they did not have access to this steelbook. Anyway, Keith at Euphoria Pictures is getting better and better at his videos. His editing has improved so much, and his knowledge of film, his collection, everything he says about film is just getting to the point where it's spot on. So if you're a collector of films on disc or any format, I would recommend you get over, take a look at Keith and subscribe to his channel. I don't think you'll be disappointed. So would I recommend the 4K of Super 8? Do you know, I'm not really sure. I really do think it's a 2K film that's been up-resolutioned to 4K, so that in that regard it doesn't really look any better than the Blu-ray, but of course the colour and the density, the contrast is better. But the DVD, on first glance when I put it on, I thought the colour on that was better than the Blu-ray, so it's going to depend. If you're like me and you love the film Super 8, which with my history of Super 8, that was a bit of a no-brainer really. But also, it's worth bearing in mind that this steelbook is just about the best steelbook I've ever seen. It's up there with Total Recall, but I think Total Recall has the edge because that has better looking discs inside it when you open it up. So it's up to you. If you really love Super 8, you've got to have the 4K because it's going to be the best one way or the other, and it may look better on your system, particularly if you're watching in a television, because it's just different to projection. So anyway, I think that brings us to the end. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and perhaps consider subscribing so I'll be encouraged to create even more content like this in the future. Until the next video, bye bye for now.